Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Or if you Errol Spence, you're going to find a way to lose those belts. Hey man, Errol Spence, look at this man's face. Now you tell me, Errol Spence, if he looked like he in shape in that photo. Man looked like he up there in Dallas, Texas eating collard green sandwiches. Talking about he doing a weight cut. Now we know the rumors are swirling about him and Crawford fighting in June. But hell, it's April 17th now. May, June, about 60 days away. And this man looking like he eating collard green sandwiches up there in Dallas, Texas. But let me tell you this. If him and Crawford don't fight, we got a huge issue. Now we know the sanctioning bodies are definitely supporting Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. They want to have an undisputed champion. But more than anything, remember, we got to worry about the secret society. It's more than an undisputed thing here. It's way bigger than Errol Spence and Crawford. They are tired of having, well, let me make sure I say this very clearly. The sanctioning bodies and Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, their colleagues, are tired of everyone being held up in a holding pattern because of these guys not figuring out what the hell they want to do. This is going on a couple of years now, where you got fighters out here who can't really plan their next move. Now, this is a fact what I'm talking about. Now, when we come and we just take a look, let me expand this for you, all right? Let me expand this so we can see what we're talking about here. Because it's almost like not fair, man. I could probably make this a little bit bigger, right? But when you take a look at right here, Spence and Crawford, right? They holding up everybody. Let me stretch this out a little bit more. They holding up everybody. Everybody. It's ridiculous at what they're doing right now. So as you look at Boots Ennis, they've actually drove him crazy. He comes out, he has a lackluster performance. Now he out here trying to headline his own show now because he can't get a fight with Errol Spence, he's a mandatory to. You got Ugas out here. He's just praying for another opportunity. But so the WBC, this is what they do. They have Ugas and Mario Barrios fighting each other for an interim belt. Now, I said that correct. The WBC has Ugas and Mario Barrios fighting for an interim belt. Now, this is what doesn't make sense. When you look at Ugas and you think about Mario Barrios, right? Look, Crowley just fought. And Crowley was fighting for a WBC eliminator as well. So the winner of Ugas and Barrios should be fighting Cody Crowley. But I'm going to be watching to see how the WBC plays that. Because it wouldn't be fair if whoever won between Ugas and Barrios automatically becomes mandatory to Spence. That just doesn't sound right. Cody Crowley should be fighting the winner of Ugas and Barrios. That's how it should go. Then the winner of that becomes a mandatory. But we know the WBC, Maurice the Nose Suleiman does what he wants. Then you got Ortiz Jr., who, let's just hope he gets better. But he's out here, man. They've totally messed my boy up, having these guys in holding patterns, and then Stanley Eunice trying to figure out what he's going to do. And Ortiz just worked himself into the damn ground. Now he's dealing with Rabdo. You got Stanley Eunice, who really, although he got paid step-aside money, he kind of got a little bad deal because it's going on over a year where he should have fought Spence a long time ago. But he did take the step-aside money. But again, he got put in a holding pattern. Keith Thurman, I don't know if he's been put in a holding pattern or if he's elected to be placed in that holding pattern. Because Keith Thurman, we haven't heard nothing from him. We don't know what he's doing. It's crazy. Butiev, not much on him. We know he's supposed to have a fight coming up as well. Crowdy just fought Nevada C, and I don't know what happened to him after Crawford tranquilized him. So at the end of the day, the guys in the welterweight division in a holding pattern. But let me tell you what happens. If Spence and Crawford don't fight, right? Spence has to fight somebody. Now, because of the way things have gone here, when you come down, you take a look here, right? Just slide on over. Spence has that IBF, WBC, and WBA belt. Now, if Spence does not fight Crawford, he has to fight his mandatory. Now, it was supposed to be Stanley Eunice and Virgil Ortiz, but because Stanley Eunice is waiting to fight Ortiz, right? And then once they fight, neither one are going to be ready to fight by June. That means Boots Ennis is going to be the guy to fight Errol Spence. You guys tracking what I just said? Remember before, with the WBA, the winner of Stanley Eunice and Virgil Ortiz was supposed to get the shot at Errol Spence. Remember? Because Keith Thurman and Spence were supposed to fight. But it looks like that whole thing is just totally up in the air. But Boots Ennis could be the fight to go forward with Errol Spence. Now, Boots Ennis' father just came in and did an interview, and he was talking about that. And what he's being told is Boots is the next up. Remember, Thurman and Spence were supposed to fight, and then it was like 60 days after that. They had within 60 days for him and Boots Ennis to agree to a deal or whatever. But now no one knows what's going on with Spence. No one knows what's going on with Stanley Eunice. Well, we know what's going on with Stanley Eunice and Ortiz, but really, as far as mandatories, the only boxer where they've been holding their position and still there is Boots Ennis. And if they can't make that undisputed fight, Earl has to do something. And if he decides he doesn't want to fight Boots, he's going to get stripped. And Errol Spence is in a position where, look, they're going to put some pressure on him. And what I think could happen is what happened to Josh Taylor. They say, okay, y'all keep playing around with us, right? Secret society. We're going to force mandatories on you at the same time. You understand? That's what they're going to do. It's this cycle of mandatories across the sanctioning bodies. And they decide, you know what, we're just going to make sure that we put all of them on you at the same time, which is impossible for you to defend that belt. So that means, you know, something's going to go to purse bid, or you're going to drop the belt and he's going to drop the belt. They did that crap to Josh Taylor. You know it was impossible for that man to defend two belts at the same time, two different opponents. And he dropped that belt. I think that's coming for Errol Spence, which to me is a good thing because, one, it forces Spence to make a decision and come out here and fight. And then two, it forces him to make a decision to just give up the belt and quit holding up the division, and we can get things bubbling again. And at this point, I really think that's what needs to happen. This picture of Spence is from when he went live. You know, he inadvertently went live. You can look at the size of his face. I tell you, my man is out there eating collard green sandwiches and drinking peanut punch. Spence up there in Dallas, Texas, at the damn juke joint, drinking malt liquor, hanging with the boys, and having a good old time. He doesn't look like he's in fighting shape. And I'm just being honest with you. But something's going to have to give. Now, when we talk about old Terrence Crawford, look, man, we can't let him off the hook either. Terrence Crawford's out here in the breeze, you know, took his career into his own hands. I respect what he's doing, being independent. But at the same time, let me tell you, if he and Spence aren't going to fight, and Crawford said, you know what, I decided not to fight Alexis Roach in my mandatory, well, this is what's going to happen. He could end up having to fight Crowley or Rashidi Ellis. Now, we know that more than likely Crawford and Spence are going to fight. They're just so quiet about it that they have everybody just kind of, you know, throwing things at the wall and seeing what will stick. But I'm telling you right now, this is a realistic scenario. If they don't fight, Crawford has to come now and fight maybe Crowley and Ellis because Rocha is about to fight. And then with Errol Spence, you know, Thurman doesn't seem, who knows what Thurman's going to do, but Spence is going to end up having to fight probably Boots Ennis. And then maybe seeing how the dust settles with the WBC and everything they have going on, That may be the other, the person, the winner of that is the person to fight after Boots gets his shot. So, long story short, right? Things are going to start moving. I think by July, you're going to see some kind of strong arm decisions being made. I think people are going to be shocked at how they handle the big fish and how they handle old Bud. Because this is getting old, man. There's so many different scenarios, so many different things we could talk about. They're going to fight here. They're going to fight overseas. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. But I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think any of that's going to happen. I think they're still trying to figure out what they're willing to agree to. And I just think that's very unfortunate that we're so far into the year and these guys just can't get it right. That's crazy to me. But nonetheless, we'll see what happens. But I think Spence may end up losing those belts, man. He just doesn't seem to. There's something off, and I'm doing some assuming now, right? And I don't like doing that. I don't mind having a conversation, but I'm telling y'all something's off. Spence doesn't look like he's in shape from this picture. You know, he can't see his body, but his face, man, to me, his face look a little bit chunky. It could be that he's smiling. You know, he naturally has a round face. But when he starts cutting weight, you know, you could see in Spence's face, man, you know, the cheekbones and everything. You know, his face looks really, really slim. It's not how he looks here. But that being said, you know, more to come on these guys, but something's got to happen. I mean, you haven't even had Blair Cobb in the fight, but we know he has his ups and downs with De La Hoya. Shell Santion, Ellis, Crowley just fought. Villa has been in a holding pattern. You know, who knows what Keith Thurman got going on. Gassiev, you know, shit, Kavialaskas. You know, Conor Benn is creeping up in the WBC rankings. He has a fight coming up against Manny Pacquiao, which is crazy, but it is what it is. Butiev, you know, it's just crazy what's going on. But that being said, before I start rambling, I'm going to go ahead and conclude this video. But I'm telling y'all right now, if for some reason Spence decides he doesn't want to fight Terrence Crawford, they're going to push mandatories on him. And I think it's at the point where it's not going to be a Boots Ennis. They're going to push a couple on him at the same time, different sanctioning bodies, which is going to force Spence to give up a belt. And then you're going to start to see movement in the 147-pound division again. I think so. I think they're going to send a message because this is extreme. You know what I'm saying? Like, this really is extreme. It's really ridiculous. And if they can't make a decision on what they want to do, and I'm talking about Crawford and Spence, I think the secret society should become a bit more active in this and force them a direction that they want them to go. And I said months ago, I think the secret society wants Crawford and Spence both out of the 147-pound division. Because to me, they've just embarrassed themselves. In my opinion, they have an opportunity to prove who's the best. And they sitting here, you know, fooling around. Y'all can blame Crawford, y'all can blame Spence. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is the fight hasn't happened. And as much as we hope it happens on June 17th, it doesn't seem to be any sign that it's going that direction. But I don't know, more to come. Y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans. I'm in the breeze.